Okay, so I have fixed the stability issue that I was having with one of the blades. Obviously, one of the blades was off balance, so I took the rotors out and balanced them correctly. Now they're in balance, and now I'm just running just a quick test with this. This is a double loop rubber band. This is not the proper rubber. I am waiting for some new rubber. This is old rubber that I had for 30 years, so it's not the proper rubber. It's not holding on quite well. But I decided to do this test here just to show the more than show is to make sure that the belt drive that I have here with that assembly there, the two pulleys, horizontal and vertical pulleys, are doing their job, which is allowing the rotors to counter rotate under tension. So here we go. You can see how the blades are spinning quite nicely. The one at the top has a little bit of wobble here, and I think it's because it's not totally horizontal. Yeah, my belt drive is working quite nicely. This is done with button thread. Button thread is a little thicker thread than regular thread. That's why I call it button thread, because it's just a little more sturdier. And so the only trick with button thread is that you got to make the knot really tiny and put just a little tiny drop of thin CA glue. Being careful not to stiffen out the thread too much. So that's working pretty nicely. Also, my blades, as you can see them, they're made out of just balsa, just a 1/16 or yeah, this is 1/16 balsa with laminated with photo paper. Photo paper, it's almost like cardstock, but a little bit thinner, but not quite as thin as regular paper, that you use for printing things on. So that is my counter rotating or coaxial helicopter, and you can see in the background I did this purposely in front of this other one because I wanted to showcase the size proportions of this guy right here. It's really, it's I mean, it's a rubber powered helicopter. The height here is about 6 inches in height. My balance point is needs to be adjusted because I made this with the intention of making this another single rotor, tail rotor type helicopter. And so when you do coaxial and with this gear, with this transmission here that I have here, power transmission, it got a little bit nose heavy. So my landing gear, even though I cut the front end of the skids, it's still a little nose heavy. So I got to put a fin at the back to counterbalance that. And actually what I should do is just redo the landing gear and move the landing gear more towards the center of this landing gear assembly, so that it balances without having to add any additional weight to this helicopter. But with the proper amount of loops on the rubber band or on the rubber strip, this should fly really nice. It is a little bit if I wind it and toss it up in the air, the blades tend to flex a little bit, and they tend to hit the tips, the edges of each other. But if I don't toss it, if I just let this take off by itself, it works just fine. Except that I don't have like I said, I don't have the proper rubber to do a proper flight with this. But it's working very nicely. I was concerned about this transmission system that I have here, that it wasn't going to hold up. I have done similar stuff in the past, back in the early '80s when I embarked on experimenting with rubber powered helicopters. I did stuff like this, and even more complex than this, uh, with another system that I will show, at some later point, because I got to dig that helicopter that I did. It's a very unique stuff. It's nothing like what the typical stuff that people do. People do is just basically rubber band, and everybody can do a pulley with a thread to the back. I mean, that's there's so many helicopters out there that people have done, but the trick is in how long you're able to make the helicopter fly. That's where the trick is at. And And so yeah, so but this assembly is working fine. Let me put this down for just a minute here. And as I was saying, this is the other setup that I have here. I have two of these. There's one gear that goes on the bottom, basically where one of those pulleys would go. One of these gears goes at the bottom. The other one goes at the top. For the one for the bottom rotor, one for the top rotor, and then these pinion gears have to be assembled in a block here at the center, like that, so that they drive the gears. As one drives the pinion, the pinion drives the upper one, and then you have the counter rotating effect or function. So this assembly, I have to assemble it. It uses two pinion gears and two crown gears to do basically what I'm doing here with the belt and pulleys. So this is another system that I designed. While I was doing this, actually I did this first, and because I already had these pulleys from the other helicopters, just a regular tail rotor type with the belt and single pulley. So I decided to do this. This took me 3 tries. Typically, I say it takes me about three tries before I get it right, because the first one is kind of like a prototype, and then I tweak that. The second time around, it needs a little more tweaking. Then the final one is where I finally it finally is a functional part. And so this is the third iteration here. My original one, the teeth were too small to engage properly, and it would slip, from the pinion gear. So this one, because the teeth are much more spaced out and much larger, it's got a lot more grip to it, and it's more beefier while maintaining the gear very lightweight. I took the geometry of the pulley right here, which it's already very lightweight, and it's been working just fine. Again, after I did a few iterations of this, trying to get the right weight, and then just the right rigidity on those pulleys. So I took that geometry, that delta shape, and I transferred that to this to this gear here, and I changed the geometry. Instead of pulley, I went with the teeth for a crown gear. So that's how I pretty much do these things. That's how they have to be done, basically. So yeah, this is going to be video 3, and then probably the video 4, I'll probably do a flight here with this system here. And this is once again Mario with MI Microflight, designing rubber power helicopters, coaxial type. Stay tuned for more.